Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan,
And I'm Casey.
and we are here to preview the Cannons matchup against the Utah Archers, the PLL League leading Utah Archers, in Columbus, Ohio on Friday night as you are listening to this. And we are joined by not a member of the supporter group, but another member, super fan, one of the hosts of the Empty the Quiver podcast, JB. So really excited to talk to him about the like magic turnaround that the Archers have had over the last month or so. Um, Before we get into that, though, some other big PLL news dropped today as we were recording this.
Yes.
So in lieu of championship series, in
Mm,
February and March 2027 and 2028, the PLL will be doing global lacrosse games in December. So this will be December 26th and then presumably December 2027 as well, leading up to the LA Olympics 2028. It will be
yeah.
very similar to the Four Nations face-off that the NHL did instead of the All-Star game a couple years ago. They haven't announced all four teams yet. Obviously, you think US, Canada, Haudenosaunee are going to be in there. Um,
Japan, I hope.
yeah, that's what I hope, and probably what I think is most likely to be the fourth team, which will be really
Hmm.
interesting, right? I think, well, didn't mention it initially, but this is done in collaboration with the NLL as well. So it'll
Yes.
be
And
um,
World Lacrosse, right?
I believe so, but I guess basically what I'm trying to say is right is like
Mm.
a PLL, um, like a Globe Games that didn't include any Canadian NLL players in December would certainly be missing a lot. Yes, it was sanctioned by World Lacrosse as well. So the NL is going to pause for a week to do this, which I think is going to be really cool. Have some
Yeah.
really intense games, especially if it's done at like the frequency the Champ Series is done. You play the other three teams once, and then I don't know if you do a semifinal or you just do top two teams from pool play will face off in a championship game. But like it could potentially be a team playing 5 games in 5 days, or five games in 6 days, I guess, if it's the 13th through the 18th. But that's going to be we're sad championship series is missing out, or rather that
Hmm.
the championship series isn't happening, but uh, this
Yeah.
will be really cool. Um,
Yeah. I think it's gonna be this December 8th through the 13th.
8th to 13th. Yep.
And it's gonna be um at the St. James,
Yeah, same
just
venue.
like Champ Series normally would. So same location, which is cool because a lot of people are already familiar with that area or with that location because we've used it every year for the last few years. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm just so excited for what this could help do, bringing the different leagues together, the NLL and the PLL, like working together to put this production on. Like, who would have thought we would be here?
Yeah, I know. I think the fans of each league and each version of the sport like to kind of be at odds with each other, and
Yeah, which
it's
is crazy.
yeah, because we certainly hear more from the Rabels than we do from Brett Frew, the commissioner of the NLL. But from everything the Rabels say is like they do try their best to work together, and like they all
Yeah,
want both leagues to succeed. And this is a really great
yeah.
concrete example of that. Like the NLL did not have to participate in this, did not have
Hmm.
to um, stop
Yeah,
games
have any
a
part of
week.
it.
Yeah, I could have said like we're playing. If players miss out, that is up to their teams. It
Hmm.
could have said we have to do this in like September or October. Um,
Yeah,
but this is really cool. Um,
yeah. It's like they are, by having this agreement, by working together and collaborating on this, uh, it's like, they're putting the players in the game first,
yeah,
right? Especially with the piece where the NLL is going to pause for that week so that the players who are in the NLL can go and play. Um, However, it ends up working out where depending on like what who's actually there representing. But yeah, I think that this is really awesome. I think it's really cool for the players and for the future of lacrosse.
Yeah, and something I don't think we explicitly said this already, but this will be women's lacrosse as well. So
Yes.
I can't actually on the top of my head think of Canadian players in the WLL. I'm sure there are,
Mm-hmm.
um, but we will. I know there was women's box championships a couple years ago. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
There.
yeah, there'll be. Canada will have a very strong showing in the sixes format for the women as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's another, it's a little bit closer, I guess, to the end of the PLL season. The Champ Series is it'll be a little bit more halfway, but another thing for us to get excited about. Speculating on that roster, and how many cannons are going to be on it. I hope for their
Yeah.
sake the roster is bigger than the Champ Series roster for sure. Like I hope it's
Yeah.
at least 19 or 20, um, which does enable you to hold up a little bit better physically, playing
Hmm.
all those games in just a short amount of time. Um,
And then who's gonna be who are the coaches gonna be?
True, yeah. Um, I don't know.
So
I
many,
know.
so many questions.
Yeah, I think it's been John Danowski has coached the men's national team for a long time. I don't know, with it being the sixes format, you got to figure
Hmm.
Brody Merrill is going to be in the Canada coaching staff when his success.
Yeah.
Um, and you basically just hand them the gold medal or the first place trophy, whatever it'll be with that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to see who the U.S. coach will be. Um,
Hmm.
and then yeah, the Haudenosaunee and you would assume we're going to be one of the four nations, and whether it's Japan. I mean, Japan does make the most sense, you're right, because the PLL has done the most with them. Uh,
Yeah. And the way that the game is growing over there for men and women.
yeah,
Um, I would be very surprised if they weren't there.
yeah. Which I think will also just be so cool because even the PLL games in Japan are one at a really tough time for American audiences to watch, and two, like it's not streamed, or I think this year it was like streamed on YouTube, but in Japanese, which is obviously great, but
Yeah.
harder to watch for Americans. So I think
Yeah.
those players coming over for an American audience and a Canadian audience to see the skill level that they have, right? Like Shunito, I don't know if he's still waiting on a visa or what
Mm,
exactly the situation has been, but he was offered a PLL contract this
yeah.
this year. Like he's a pro caliber goalie.
Hmm.
And I know Japan has some other really, really like they push the US players. Like they have to
Yeah.
fight. I certainly expect Japan to win one of these games that they'll play.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
really, really,
These players deserve to be, they deserve every opportunity they can get. And
yeah,
so, I want to see them on this stage. I want, my friends, my family, like, I want them to be able to see how these players from all over the world can play.
yeah,
So I'm excited.
yeah. Um, Very,
And
very,
there are people we're going to see in the Olympics.
yeah. Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
not forget, like, this is so cool.
Yeah, this has got to be a pretty, it's certainly a trial run for the U.S. Olympic team
Yeah.
where, in addition to just wanting to beat Canada or wanting to beat the U.S. or, et cetera, players want to win this tournament and they want to have a good performance to show that they belong on that Olympic team. Because as cool
Yeah.
as it will be to win this in December, it'll be a
Hmm.
whole lot cooler in June of 2028 to win a gold medal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right. I think that is enough
Yeah.
about this
Let's,
for now. We will talk about this more as more details come out. Certainly, we will speculate on how many cannons and guard players are going to be on those rosters. But for now, let's turn it over to our conversation with JB of Empty the Quiver. Thank you to JB from the Empty the Quiver pod, Archer Superfan, for joining us. JB, how you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Always fun when we can bring in a fan of a rival team just as the Cannons are getting ready to play them. I guess first let's just start with you introducing yourself, Empty the Quiver, and then I know you're a Pennsylvania guy, so how'd you wind up being a fan of the Utah Archers?
I am. I live right by Lehigh University. A good friend of mine is Mike Sisselberger. So went to all of his games at Lehigh, watching him play as a Mountain Hawk through COVID and the record-breaking season he had as a face-off guy, setting the NCAA record, and really just fell in love with the game and couldn't get enough of it. So after graduation, we threw him a draft party at a local college bar here and watched patiently until he went number 5 to the Utah. Well, at the time, the Archers Lacrosse Club, now Utah Archers. So became a diehard fan in that moment and never looked back.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it's very cool the different ways that people become a fan. I know, obviously I went the city route, growing up in Massachusetts my whole life. But I think, having a fan, obviously we see a lot of college teammates and families of players in the stands at all these games. Um, yeah, it's just cool, like whatever the various ways that people become a fan of the team, especially if it's not like their local market. But and it's
It
I
is
mean,
unique, right? That pro
yeah.
sports, not often pro sports randomly in the middle of their tenure assign cities. So everybody's just fingers crossed for the team they want near them. You
Yeah,
never
that's
know.
true. I mean, I felt pretty good that the Cannons were going to be back in Boston, but yeah, really, and I guess maybe the Whips being in Maryland, but besides that, it could have been the Philadelphia Archers, and who knows how that would have changed things. I
I
can't
had to
imagine
hope
the
for
Utah
it.
Water Dogs.
Yeah, me neither. It makes sense now, but
Yeah, once the dogs got sours, I think that kind of sold it. Um, yeah, all right. So Cannons and Archers playing this Friday, which should be today as you're listening to this. If you're listening to it when it comes out. Um, The Archers, I think we expected the defense to be good. I don't know that we expected it to be like historically good as it is this year. Um, the offense took a while to get going, but who boy is it going now? What, from your perspective, has happened that has turned this team into a juggernaut where it looks like they might never lose again?
well, it goes back farther than just the past month when they've started to look really good. It's been a process for sure. Last season was, I mean, you see hanging right behind me. They came off of back-to-back championship seasons, and then similar to what New York's doing this year, injuries plagued them, and they're in the basement. So last season was definitely a wake-up call, but they lost Tom Schreiber, they lost Grant Ament. It was Graham Hossick's last year. Trey Treasy, Latrell Harris, he was short stick midfielder of the year in 23. He left in 24. Trey Leclerc was hurt a lot last year. Matt Moore hasn't been back from his hip injury. Mikey Sis broke his finger last year. So it was just anything that could go wrong went wrong. And they just never recovered. So it was super disappointing, obviously, when you come off back to back championships. But entering the draft then this year, Coach Bates, he really took that into perspective and thought our offense, it was pretty stagnant. Schreiber might not be back. Grant might not be back. We need to think differently about this thing. And he obviously drafted Aidan McGuire one, and a large majority of lacrosse fans criticized him and still do to this day, which hopefully that starts to fade a little bit. But the reasoning of taking a short stick number one, but because of the position, the title of short stick, had never happened before, but he saw something special in Aidan and added him to what I consider, I'm probably biased, but the best short stick room in the league at that point, just added a fourth one, which is unconventional. So his plan, and on our podcast before the season started, Jackson and I had Coach Bates on to try to explain the same thing to us. Like, what was his vision and why would he make that move? Were you going to trade Millar? Or were you going to get rid of Piper Bond? Like, what's the deal there? And he really just explained that his goal is to be uncomfortable to play, uncomfortable for opposing defenses to cover, and that would then organically produce offense as long as obviously the attackmen were putting the ball in net, and the ball movement is super important. So there were growing pains. The first month of this season, they still looked terrible, and McGuire wasn't there for opening weekend, and then you throw him in right after a Duke season. He's got to learn a brand new system with guys that he's never played with before. So it did take a little while, and I think the past month has really it showed what he was trying to make happen. It's been a success, and I can just only hope that it keeps on going.
Yeah, I think the growing pains was something that definitely was evident early on in the year. And particularly for McGuire, I think it's tough enough I know some players talk about being in rhythm, like when you finish your college season, then go right into the PLL. But I think with this year, if you're coming in like 3 games in, whatever it is, has got to be just it's like almost insurmountable. If and especially, the faster pace of play, you're probably not fully healthy if you're going all the way to championship weekend. Um, new terminology you got to learn. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess would you it is hard to criticize any draft move Chris Bates has made because I would say he's been the best guy at drafting so far, and certainly Ryan Steins was another pick that people question, but has worked out beautifully. And maybe got you that offensive production that you thought that a lot of people thought you guys needed to take first overall. Um, have there been moments in the year that you've questioned whether McGuire should have been that first overall pick, like seeing Spallina or Weissar, or I'm not asking you saying, "Oh, I would rather have this guy than this guy," but
No, absolutely. I think, and Jackson and I did a mock draft before the season started, and we flat out said, don't overthink it. The team needs offense. Take
hmm,
Spallina. And we the lacrosse community, we all banter back and forth, and even now seeing the post about Joey trying to go back to Syracuse, I don't know if that's even real yet or not, but I don't want to get off topic on that one. But now that's just more fuel for us to say, yeah, see, there's no reason to draft him. He might not even be here next year. Um, yeah, it was definitely a question mark. It was on draft night, and people will say, yeah, okay, you can say that now. Hindsight's 2020, but I've got the receipts. I was very confident and loved the McGuire pick because just the guy was just an athlete. I didn't know the reasoning. I didn't know if there would be other moves after that. I had never heard of Ryan Steins. I
hmm,
didn't watch Utah college lacrosse. So that was a head scratcher when you've got guys like Spanos still out there as an attackman, and I a guy I wanted because I live on the East Coast, so I was watching him play on Saturdays. But I think ultimately it's one of those things where, yeah, we always say in Bates we trust. Jackson and I say that because he hasn't led us astray yet. Um, Same thing happened when I wanted uh, Pacino and he took Mason Woodward, and I'm like, what are you
hmm,
doing? A guy from Marquette. Pacino's ranked, and we always say the experts, and now we put quotes up when we say the experts because we've learned the lacrosse experts. Everybody's got their own opinions, and it's a lot different than when you watch a sport like college football, where it's more clear cut. Like, this is the number one quarterback. He's going to go number one overall. There are so many options in the lacrosse world, and the coaching does matter. I think, even going back to the first question you asked, having four short sticks, you have an athletic guy who can also put the ball on net. The main reason it's working so well is because they're moving in transition. As soon as they get the ball, it's go, go, go. Lacrosse is very much like ice hockey where you're subbing on the fly. And if you press on offense without the defense being allowed or having time to make those switches, you're not going to have anybody out there to guard some of these guys. So Bo Pedersen can put shots on net. Aidan McGuire can put shots on net. Piper Bonds hit it too and scored a couple goals this year. Even Connor Marr, who's the least offensive of the four, is involved in the offense. So yeah, we had some doubts, but we laid back and said in base we trust and just crossed our fingers.
yeah, yeah. It's I know for the NFL draft, there've been some guys that have come up with formulas on how valuable each pick is. Um, I have no idea how you would possibly be able to translate that for lacrosse, and I think it's certainly too soon to say, for any of these. I got to figure Joey Spallina is going to be a PLL player for quite a long time, but yeah, I mean, like, I guess basically what I'm saying is, yeah, Aidan McGuire looks like he's been a very valuable. He has been a valuable contributor, certainly for Utah the last few games. Um, and I know if because I think Brian Holman told us that if Spallina went and one, then the Cannons were going to take McGuire, and I think the Whips felt the same thing at two or at three behind the Cannons. So it's almost like if you wanted him that bad, you had to take him at one, even if maybe I don't know the draft stock or like the evaluation is that he wasn't necessarily worth the first overall pick. But I mean, guy's got 6 points in 8 games. See his stats there. He's got 9 ground balls, couple cost turnovers, like, and he looks so much more comfortable now compared to when he started. Like I know he was getting cooked a couple times in his first game, and I think the league really liked to post
Oh,
those
for sure.
highlights. Yeah,
It's so hard to even put yourself in those shoes of being thrown into the
yeah,
professional spotlight where you don't know your teammates. You're the new kid. You miss
yep,
training camp. it's if you're not an outgoing, like I don't know Aidan McGuire like that, but
I don't think I've
I
ever
can't
heard him
imagine.
speak, so that kind of answers
Right,
the question.
right. And I've met him face to face a few times, but not somebody who's just like gonna walk into the room and everybody knows he's there.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think he had to get comfortable also to believe in himself and understand that the coaching staff trusts him to be him. Go
yeah,
out, play offense, have fun. And it's improved his defense as well. Like, yeah, they showed the CJ Kirst just absolutely breaking his ankles a couple weeks ago, but then this past time that they played each other, he locked him down.
yeah.
So he's an athlete, a stud athlete, and I am really glad that he was the pick.
Yeah. Um, all right, let's switch back to the cannons here for a moment. We've talked about the archers long enough. So
Finally.
yeah,
I could talk Archers all day, so yeah, take it away.
it's a yeah, it's been a really interesting season for the cannons. Um, I believe they do have, yeah, the most scores per game of any team in the league. But Utah's played one more game, so the numbers don't exactly match up there. Um, would you say, of anything, is that what scares you the most about this Cannons matchup? Or, I mean, your defense is so good, I don't know, does anything scare you?
Well, it's an interesting offense. Marcus Holman looks like he's 23 years old.
Yep.
Where that came from, and it's not like he was, and he wasn't bad last year, but
No.
I just you don't expect guys to get better. To start this
Right. In their
season,
mid 30s.
absolutely. And to start this season, my favorite cannon for the past couple of years has been Asher Nolting. I don't know what your thoughts are there. I'm sure you guys love the guy. That was a shock to me. I think it all kind of started though in the offseason when I saw him not ranked in the top 50 from the players picks, and that was kind of weird. And I'm just thinking, like, did he do something? Is he on somebody's bad? Like, is he blacklisted? Is he out of shape? Like, I have no idea what's going on there. But when he was cut, and the Cannons were just as bad as the Archers last year, they picked second. So it's like,
Right.
okay, they're gonna have a down year again. And then both the Archers and the Cannons started slow and turned it on at the same time. McAsee's a stud. The Kelly boys, which they kind of came out of nowhere. Ragnari's kind of scary. It's stuff that I don't know. Like I haven't watched Mikey Weischer and Jack Ragnari play that much professional lacrosse. I've seen them maybe in 2 games this year, and they looked great in both. So that's scary. But yeah, to your point, I have all the faith in the world in Dobson, the Archers, the defense, and Coach Resch, who is a genius, honestly.
Yeah. I forget after which game it was, but one of the games the past weekend. um, where I texted Casey and Jack, the other guy in the battery, was like, "How much do you think it will cost us to get Coach Resch away from the Archers, and can I contribute to that fund myself?" Because
Every year, I'm nervous that he's going to take a head coach job. Because please don't leave. It seems like they have a good thing going. He doesn't want that, but he's a great defensive coach.
yeah, and like this is obviously every individual player on that defense is unbelievable. We talked about the short stick room a lot. I think Dobson should certainly be goalie of the year, and has a great case for MVP as well. But when you look at how many of the top 10 or 20 elite defenses in pro lacrosse history that Tony Resch has coached, it's insane.
It
Um,
is
yeah, like I don't know what we got to do to, hopefully he's able to pass that knowledge on. I know I guess his son is retired. I don't think I officially saw that announcement, but I know he's certainly not in the roster anymore. Um, but like whatever he's able to do, I certainly hope that those skills and knowledge gets passed down so we can keep seeing just unbelievable performances. Ideally for Boston,
sure.
um, but I mean, yeah, just the master class that they've put on, right? Because it's only 2 out of the 10 games I think that Utah's given up more than 10 goals, or 10 or more. Which,
Yeah, they had a bad game when Dylan Malloy went off.
yeah,
Other than that, and then Philly beat him 11-10.
right,
Everything else has been pretty locked down.
yeah, it's
Uh,
insane with that stat that you're only 6-4 and not 8-2, 9-1, or even 10-0.
well, those are the 2 games. If Malloy doesn't have a career game, or if they just make a switch at halftime,
Yeah,
there's nothing against Warren Jeffrey. He's a great defender, but he couldn't guard him that day, and so they left it go in the second half and blew a big lead. And then the 11-10 loss to Philly We had 8 minutes in penalties, and the whole game we're in the
Right.
box. So that's two different. That's two wins, honestly. But let's talk about your offense, like Holman, McAsee, Kelly. I know the Archers defense, so we put Brendan Lavelle in the number one. I assume that's McAsee. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I think, yeah, because Holman is, more of a catch and shoot. I think McAsee of the attackman is like the dodging initiator. And then do you have I feel like it's normally Woody who plays the guy at X, so he'd take Brian Kelly.
I don't know about that. Woody's normally on the fast guy, the
Okay.
fast guy. So like he guarded Sowers, but you're right. That normally is the guy at X. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Does Brian Kelly have the speed?
I think so. I think of the three, I don't
Okay.
think of any of them as burners necessarily, but I do think Kelly would be the fastest. Yeah.
Because initially I thought Warren Jeffrey would go on Kelly, which is a little unconventional for them. But the reason for that was Woody on Marcus Holman because he's playing so well.
Hmm.
We also have Mitch Dunham who plays pole, and he's LSM. I put that in quotes too because he plays close.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be on Rigneri or Weishart.
I mean,
Question mark.
Mm.
Ruggieri's the fastest guy, so maybe bump Woody up
Right.
to LSM
That's what I was kind
protection.
of thinking. If I was going to ask you guys who the speed demon was, and that's where I put Woody, then I put Dunham on Holman maybe, and Jeffrey on Kelly. I don't know.
Um, yeah,
It's kind of,
it's I think based on the play, right, especially with Matt Campbell not in the lineup and Mick Kelly being sat last week, he's had a quiet last few weeks. Um, yeah, I would say Weissar and Rigneri are the initiators from the midfield as well. So
Yeah.
if both of them are out there, I think still you put the poll on Rigneri, just given how explosive he is. Um, and then I mean I certainly trust all your short sticks to play solid against whoever they're playing. Um, I guess none of them would have played Weissar a ton in college, just with
yeah,
Towson.
I don't think so. Maybe a matchup here and there.
Yeah, but probably at least one of them has one or two games against him. Obviously, Weissar was getting a pole when he was
Well,
in
does
college.
does does Richmond play Towson? Because that's where
Oh
Dunham.
yes, they're both in
Yeah,
the A10. Richmond's in the
I didn't
A10.
prep for that.
No, that's okay.
Richmond is.
No,
Richmond is
Towson's in
the
the
10.
CAA, so they're not in the same
Yeah.
conference.
Okay. All right.
Um, yeah, and then let's flip it to the other side. I mean, Donovan's, it was crazy, right? Erasing Pat and Chris Kavanaugh and Connor Schellenberger, and then kind of getting torched by Teddy Malone.
That
Um,
was bizarre.
yeah,
I didn't. I mean, I would have taken Teddy Malone in my fantasy team if I knew that was going to happen. But I was
I,
thinking
wouldn't we
Donovan's
all?
been playing great.
Yeah, I think it was. I want to say the familiarity, right? Because obviously he played the Kavanaughs a ton in practice, and Notre Dame and Virginia matched up quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe it was a scheme thing too. I'd have to go back and watch the game again. Um, but I don't
Well, you
know.
had Donovan on Teddy, you had Owen Grant on Spanos, and you had Keelty on Owen Hiltz.
Yes.
So we have Sam King, Mac O'Keefe, and Connor Fields.
Yeah. I feel
Historically,
like,
Connor Fields gets the beefy, like beat you up guy.
yeah, which is crazy because I think that's what Fields wants. Similar to Garnsey. It's like he's comfortable being off balance, having one hand on his stick. So I feel confident that Owen Grant is going to get that matchup to start the game. I don't know if it's the
Hmm.
right choice.
I
Um,
thought Owen Grant might get Sam King.
mm,
He's our initiator, but I don't know. I get the Boston defense better than I do. But
yeah.
lately, King's been getting the other team's number one for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like
And
this,
has he, I know he was at attack the last game, but he's had a few games at midfield this year as well, right? And Steins has played at least
a
one game.
little bit. They switched a little bit to start the year. This hot streak, it's been Steins out of the box and Sam
Yeah.
King at attack.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe I would want, I mean, Donovan on Fields, but also, they certainly have never played against each other before, so maybe Connor Fields goes off in that way, and as well, it's been Donovan taking the guy at X. Well, that's Fields, right? And then you have, I mean, King can go back there too.
So yeah, Fields and Mack are primarily they hang on the left side, well,
Yeah,
the right side, their lefty stick, and Fields initiates, but from that spot. King has been the guy behind the net that's playing
yeah,
quarterback.
because that's definitely what he did in college.
And Stein's the same way. He'll come out of the box, but he initiates from all over the place. And then you have Trey LeClaire, who's top of the key, just kind of like a freight train coming at
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, and that's certainly who I would give the poll to, whether it's Rawl or Hunter Smith. Um, yeah, it's interesting. There are a couple teams that work their attack in really unorthodox ways, and I think Utah is definitely one of them, where I'm really not sure
They
who's
don't.
going to win it.
They never really. I mean, Grant Ament was that guy who could really have the ball in his stick, and he's kind of like the pinball all over the place. But Bates is very right stick, right-handed, left-handed. So he
Hmm.
cuts it down the middle, and he wants the equal number of both. And Fields and Max stay over there. The righties, Steins and King stay over there.
Yeah,
They move around obviously during the game, but you won't see many goals from Mac and Fields on the other side unless they're doing something crazy by the crease. But
right.
they kind of stay in their spots.
Yeah, I feel like I think Keelty maybe will go on O'Keefe. I know he's gotten like the Sowers matchup too previously, although I gotta think Donovan's going to take that going forward. Um, because O'Keefe will dodge, but I think of him as more as a catch and shoot guy as well.
100%. And if his
Um,
hands are free, he's very dangerous.
yes,
So
we
that's
certainly know that.
the Chaos put a short stick on him and he scored 7 goals.
Yeah,
That was
that's
silly.
disrespectful. Let's talk about the face-off matchup. That's something I think that you have to give a lot of credit for Boston turning their season around, has been McMeekin coming in at the dot. And as well, Sisselberger, right, going like 30% last year trying to fight through a broken finger. But coming back in at 60% this year. So it feels like he's, among the many awards that Utah is going to be up for this year, like pretty good candidate for comeback player of the year, pretty good candidate for face-off athlete of the year as well, because he has played in every game. I guess I'm trying to the game log just see where he's at. So he was below 50% against TD both times, but every other matchup he's been.
Which is very funny because if you look back at his historically, he does very well against TD. And then
Hmm,
this year it flips.
yeah,
But yeah, to your point, if Xander Dixon didn't snap his leg in half, I feel like comeback player of the year was in the bag. But I don't know you can give it to anybody else but Dixon.
fair case, yeah, for fair point.
But yes, I think Sis had a chip on his shoulder, obviously. Very few people knew that he got hurt during training camp last year and was trying to fight through those 4 or 5 games he played. Wasn't himself, and then put a lot of time and work into the gym to start this year and has the goal of taking the team back to the championship because that's all he knew, right? He got drafted in 23, they won the title. He got came back in year two and won the title again and then got hurt. So McMeekin, same thing though, comes in the league and then the team starts to win right away.
Yeah.
He's fresh off of the college season and he looks electric out there. I watched his very first game and just thought, oh my gosh, that guy's fast. Like I didn't
Hmm.
expect this. And he wins a lot of faceoffs forward and just straight at the net. Can
Yeah.
score, can dish, assist some of those guys on the Cannons offense. It's going to be a battle for sure. I don't know what to expect. Obviously, I told you the reason I'm an Archers fan is Mikey Sis, so I hope he does very well, and I'd love for him to win Faceoff Man of the Year this year. But it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a grind.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to, look at common opponents. I know, he had one game against TD where he went 44, which is slightly better than Sis did. Let's see, against the Dogs. Oh, I don't even know.
Did they have
Um,
Stathicus when you played the Dogs? Because he's freshly back. They had
I
Colin
don't
Farrell
think he
just
had him in either game. But let's see. Sis went 55 and 57 against Luke Weirman, and McMeekin went 64 throughout the Chaos game for obvious reasons. Um, I think that's their only common opponent. So I don't know. I think it's going to be like a 55-45 probably type of game.
and the faceoff position is also so unique because the cadence of the official and when he's blowing that whistle is such a huge factor. Who the
Yeah.
official is a huge factor as much as who the opposing faceoff guy is. Because
Yeah.
if you have a different official, it takes a while to kind of get in sync and learn that cadence.
Yeah, and I think we see that when players transition from the college game to the pros, even though it is, some of the same officials. Um, I'm surprised officials don't deliberately change it up, right? Like
Right. Like a
like
jump ball
pitchers
in
don't always
basketball.
throw the same. You know,
Right.
when a race like
Hmm.
race cars, like they don't the light sequence doesn't always start exactly the same, so players can't time it. But that's such a huge part of
Mhm.
facing off in lacrosse is timing that whistle and moving simultaneous or as close to ahead of it as you can without getting caught.
Not
Um,
being totally obvious, right? And
yeah,
also the speed of sound and like it doesn't always translate
Your
on the television.
reaction.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hear the whistle and you're like, whoa, whoa, every single one's early, but it
yeah,
takes a
especially
second.
on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating battle. Um, I think, McMeekin has a point. Well, technically he doesn't have a point in every game, but he's averaging a point every game. He didn't get one against the Atlas, but he had two the game before. So he's got 6 points in 6 games. Um,
I think
let's see,
that's
how
the
many
biggest
assists?
thing too, winning them cleanly.
Yeah, winning him
I
clean
think,
and 5 assists to Holman and McAsee on the wings.
yeah, like I said, he's like lightning out of the off the dot. But I think that's
Hmm.
what Sis will bring is to try to limit the quick wins where it's straight down the field.
Yeah,
There will be
which
a few
funnily
ones
enough,
where
the Chaos did a great job without a face-off specialist. Christian Scarpello and Ty English last weekend did a great job. Like on that overtime winner for the Chaos, they got McMeekin to go backwards, turnover to the shortest guy in the field, and
I
then
think
Don't
when
get me
you're a
started.
defensive player facing off, you probably know you're not going to win anyway. So it's like all my only job here is to make him go that way.
right,
Just don't go
yeah.
past me.
But yeah, and obviously no short to Christian Scarpello, who's had a great pro career. But it's like if he can figure out how to make McMeekin do it, I'm sure Sisselberger can as well. Um,
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know which way it's going to go, but I think they'll both be within 10%. Like I think it'll be, 55-45 or somewhere even closer than that. I do think McMeekin's going to get a point though, whether it's a goal or an assist. I think if he gets more than that, that's a huge factor in the Cannons winning. Because you got to keep him, you got to keep the defense honest, right? Is like you hesitate to go off Holman or Maxey because obviously, but if you let McMeekin go down the middle of the defense, then he's definitely capable of putting one in the back of the net. Um, I don't know, any other areas of the game you wanted to talk about before we give our final predictions for Friday night?
Well, if we're comparing Utah to Boston, since we have the best goalie in the league, just throw out goalies.
I was like, we could just skirt
Yeah,
past you.
right. We win goalie battle. Thank you. No, I love all the Kirsts. I had
Hmm.
mentioned Lehigh, so Cole Kirst,
Yep,
um, short career with the Redwoods, which I still don't
Yeah.
understand. He was a
me
stud there
neither.
too. Played for Lehigh and was fantastic as an offensive player there. So always been a fan of the Curse. I love CJ Curse, even though he's an enemy at this point, but I think he should win MVP
Hmm.
this year. He's the best player in the league, and I love
Yep.
watching him play.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think Dobson has the advantage there. He's playing out of his mind ever since the indoor season.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much to say. One of the many reasons the Cannons lost that game is Blaze Reardon had like twice as many saves as Colin Kirst. So the Cannons will need, I think something similar is probably going to happen where Um, I I would be shocked if Dobson's save percentage was not higher than Colin Kirst's by the end of this game. Um, so the Cannons are going to need to take a lot more shots to win it. Get a lot more possessions, win that face-off battle. If McMeekin goes 55 to 60, that's I don't know. I guess that's like five more possessions over the course of the game. Um, and you got to cash in on at least two or three of those. Um,
The biggest things for the Archers, though, with faceoffs lost, if Sis loses a faceoff, to now have only 25, 26 seconds against that
yeah,
defense is an uphill battle.
it
I think
certainly
that,
is.
yeah, that's one of the reasons they've thrived since Mikey got drafted. Honestly, the defense has always been good, and Resch coaches them up where if Sis loses, well, the other team, by the time they get set, they've got 25, 27 seconds. Just shut them down. It's not 52. So
Yeah, and that's why I think that transition that hopefully McMeekin can provide, just keep it unsettled. I don't think he's gonna stay on the field too long. Like if he dishes it, whether it's for a home and shot or dishes it to try to get the ball around, work it around. Like I can't really see him staying on and kind of like cutting backside for. I would love to see it, once, but I feel like especially as a rookie, he's like, win the ball and get off.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like those unsettled moments where I think Holman just has a knack for being in the right spot at the right time. Obviously, he can shoot the ball really, really well. I think McAsey feels a lot more comfortable. Will Manny has done a good job like getting that team kind of free flowing. Um, and Jack Regnery with a full head of steam is tough to stop. He's just very, very shifty. So I feel like that's what it's going to take for the Cannons to come out on top is like winning that transition battle. And we saw against Denver how they did such a great job of eliminating Denver's transition. But I don't think Piscino or Tarasenko or any of their other defensive personnel had any points at all. Um, it was really just Brendan O'Neill who had a good day that day, and it's gonna. I know you don't go necessarily as fast as Denver does, but like you talked about, getting the defensive guys on and playing O and trapping some offensive personnel. Like that's what's gonna. That's we know that's the game plan for Utah, right? And it's just figuring out how to stop that.
JB, I want to go back to something we were talking about before with the goalies. But first, do you watch the NLL?
Sporadically, yeah, I have my favorites. I like Trey LeClaire playing for the Seals. I like Connor Fields a lot. Sis played with him in Rochester, so
Hmm.
Rochester became my team, and then like he didn't go back for a second year. So I did go down to watch the Nighthawks play against the Wings in Philly since I'm from outside of Philly, but it's
Okay.
not something that I watch religiously.
Okay. Because something that I feel I mean, I don't really, I almost feel like talking about the NLL to people in the PLL, it's like this weird thing where it's like people don't really talk about it
Well, we saw
on
that
like,
post today, right? They're like
Yeah.
getting together and partnering.
yes,
I couldn't believe
yes.
it.
Like okay, so that's, I wasn't going to bring that up yet, but since we're here, um, one also couldn't believe it. Um, and I was just like, holy crap, like we're working together. This is awesome. um, two, I'm sad that it means we are not going to be in DC for Champ Series come February. Uh, I feel like maybe I can speak for Aiden on this, but we love going to Champ Series. We've
I
gotten to go
wonder
the past
why you
couple.
guys win when you go.
Okay, well, that is definitely that's a good reason. But I think it's just so much fun. And for those few days that you're down there, you get to actually be like around everybody for an extended period of time where you usually don't ever get to do that. So yeah, I'm a little bummed that we won't be going to Champ Series come February. It's a nice little pick me up midwinter, for us East Coast people.
Hmm.
Um,
I've never
but
gone to Champ Series, but Jackson raves about it. And like
Yeah.
you just said, it's like the lacrosse community. You get to meet all kinds of people, and you're
yeah,
there for multiple days.
Yeah, because
yeah.
people really do. I mean, of course, it's mostly like people in the DMV, but it's like especially that second weekend now. Yeah, like people
Mhm.
do come from all over. It's
It's
great.
a great opportunity too for, say, like people for us, right, who are doing media around these teams, and we're like super fans. We get to actually be in person and hang out and connect and like form these like bonds or these relationships with each other that is in such a better way or organic way than just over a podcast or social media.
They're
um
all sweaty right after a game, and they're like trying to get out of there.
True, true. um but yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that. I am excited to see like what teams are going to be representing there. And yeah, I mean, it's a awesome way to gear up for LA 28
Yeah, I think we
for
saw
sure.
how fun the Four Nations face-off was for the NHL. Um,
Hmm.
So something
Yeah.
like U.S. Canada, like yeah, Zach Carrier is going to throw hands with someone in one of those games. And I'm going to
Yeah.
be here for. Hopefully, it's against like CJ Kirst, right? Like I feel like he's going to be pissed at one of his
Oh.
own
His
teammates.
own, his own. That's great. Yeah, maybe Dobbs. We had Dobson on our podcast, and he said when he puts the Team Canada jersey on, it does not matter. It does not matter if it's Mac, if it's Sam King. It doesn't matter to him. He wants to win. They're enemies in that moment. When the
Yeah,
game's over, the whistle blows. Back to being friends, but
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to watch.
yeah, that's going to be really good. It is a tougher time of year, I think, for people to go down to see it in person, which is unfortunate. Because it's like right before
Right. It's
school is still in session, probably for a lot of people. Um,
Yeah, I want to know like how we landed there.
yeah,
December 13th is what it is, right?
yeah, 13th through 18th, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Oh, I would love to be there.
Yeah, I think I will have the opportunity to ask my Grable, although I'm sure he's going to talk to a lot of people before he'll talk to me about this. I got to think a lot of media questions he's going to field in the next couple weeks will be about this.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
yeah,
Well, I was gonna ask what your thoughts were, especially because you guys have Dobson. And he plays in the NLL as well and kicks butt in the NLL too. Like what your thoughts were about players who uh, play in both of those leagues and how it positively impacts their play for the PLL. If you have, any thoughts about that. I know that you said that
Yeah.
you've not been like a, consistent watcher, but
Right. I do follow the stats. I do follow the scores. I know which teams are in first, second, third. I guess I'm more than a casual fan, but at the same time,
okay.
I think ultimately it comes down to making a living. So many of the field guys have those 40-hour week jobs, and if they don't play NLL, they still have their 40-hour week job. You only get so many vacation days, right? So they play PLL, they have to take off lots of Thursdays and Fridays. Uh, the guys who do both, I think, are career lacrosse players, and most of them only play lacrosse. So that
Hmm.
also includes like running camps and coaching and doing other things in the lacrosse world, but you need to pay the bills. So I think, does it help playing both? 100%, because you're playing all year round for the most part.
Hmm.
Piper Bond shared with us. He was our first player guest, and he does not play in the NLL. And so he said he joined us right after training camp this year and said, "Yeah, I mean, first day of camp, I picked the stick up, and I'm like, oh man, I'm a little rusty because it's just a different feel." And those guys
Hmm.
coming straight like the CJ Kirst and Owen Hiltz, they won the championship this year. The next day, they're practicing with their PLL teams, and maybe not the next day, but within a week, and
Yeah.
they don't miss a beat because they've been playing. So I
Hmm.
think it definitely helps to play both. Goalie for sure. There's a learning curve, and the adjustment between indoor and playing field, but anytime you're getting shots taken on you, it's going to help you stay sharp.
Yeah.
Which I've never understood Blaze Rudin as an attackman in the NLL. That
I
is the
know,
biggest
right?
question mark for me. But as a newer fan to the game, I just roll with it. I'm like, all right, whatever. And they
yeah,
say Blaze
Yeah.
has amazing hands, so I believe it.
yeah. Well, he definitely does. It really like I would love to get him and Shohei in a room, right? Because that's probably the
Oh.
closest lacrosse equivalent. Um, so to do it in the same game. And I think technically, I
Right.
think the PLL did make a rule that like your backup goalkeeper has to play goalkeeper and like you can't send him out as a field player. Because I know
Mm.
I think someone at some point floated like, oh, have like whether it's Cout or Dylan Ward or whoever it was at the time, like play goal and then just put Blaze Reardon in as like maybe like an attackman got hurt or something. It's like, all right, well, you just, swap the goalies out and then Blaze can take a spot. Um, which I would love to see. I think like similar to how like goalies have to actually serve their penalties, which I think is great. Um, would love if you could, if a guy can, BJ Farrar can play short stick and long stick in the same game. Why can't um, Blaze Reardon play attack and goalie just like it's middle school?
It'd be fun to watch. I can't believe they haven't done it in the All Star game. They seem to
Well,
not
they
really
did.
follow it. Did he play
Yeah,
attack?
he did play attack in the All-Star game.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't watch it, as you can tell.
Not this most recent one. It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
All
Oh,
right.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say I missed that too.
yeah,
The
it was
last
not this
All-Star
year.
game I watched, they were wearing yellow and blue.
Oh,
They
in
looked like
Kentucky.
I was gonna say they
Yeah.
looked like jockeys on horses.
Yep, that was very intentional. Um, all right, let's wrap the conversation here. Friday night lacrosse, 8:30, Columbus, Ohio. Cannons and Archers. JB, who comes out on top? What's the final score?
Well, I have to pick the Archers. I think total goals scored, the number 23 is in my mind. Um, I say that because I follow the betting lines as well, just to kind of see like, and no, the sports books have no idea
No.
because you can make some serious money if you bet on lacrosse because they will always throw out a random one that doesn't make any sense. The last 2 weeks, the Archers over under was 20 goals, so you just take
Oh
the
yeah, I
over on
saw
that.
that.
Right. So this they've fixed it this week and it's 23 and a half. I just have this suspicion the under will hit. I won't bet that and don't take that as advice, but 23 is the number I'm landing on. I maybe like 13-10, I
Hmm.
guess. I also don't think I can pick the defense to give up double digits, so maybe 14-9. I think right in there is where I'd go, but I got to go with the hometown Utah Archers.
All right, Casey.
Obviously, I'm going for the Cannons. Come
You
on.
have to. Yeah, you have to.
Yes. um, if I'm anything, it's loyal. I would say, all right, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a fun game. I think maybe it's going to be maybe like 17-15.
Oh boy, that would
Lots of
be
goals.
it's
Lots of
like
goals.
double what the Archers normally give up. Yeah,
You never know.
yeah.
Anything is possible. I
That's,
certainly hope the defense doesn't lay an egg like that.
no, because the it was what 16 to the Redwoods is the most.
Yep.
16-14, I think,
I'll try
loss.
not to think about it, but yeah, Dylan Malloy
Yep.
just went off. Yes.
Um, so I mean, it's in there somewhere.
It's possible. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ugh, I just don't want to go too low.
Sure.
Like initially, I wanted to say like 10-7, but I mean, it's like no, I think the Archers are going to get more goals than that. Um,
It's the most
but
fun part of this game is it could be 10-7, it could be 17-14.
Yeah,
It could
mhm,
be something in between. It's
right.
nuts
yeah,
to
like it's
watch.
not. Yeah, exactly. It's not over until it's over.
Um, yeah, this it does pain me, but like I said, the fun
Oh
is so high.
no.
I
Uh-oh.
know the Archers are going to lose again. They're not going to win every game forever, but
Right.
I just can't pick against them right now. And I know the Cannons defense has problems.
Casey
Uh,
is not happy.
this is not the first time I've picked the Cannons to lose, Casey. And I
But
don't
it's a
want it.
critical moment in the season.
It is with leaving them just under
Aiden.
left. Thank goodness New York sucks so much this year. I mean, these famous last words. They could win this weekend and pull even with the Cannons in record. But yeah,
They
I gotta take the Archers to win. Like they're scoring too easily. They don't give up enough goals. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say I'll say like like honestly, I think it might be bad. I'm gonna say like 14-7. I think it's gonna be a tough day. I think McMeekin's gonna play well. Um, I don't know. But yeah, I just can't. Maybe we get another Boston 2 party. Um,
I
that
love Brett Dobson. I think he's the best goalie in the world. The two bomb, it's not his strong suit.
hmm,
I will say that. So if Matt Campbell was playing,
yeah,
I would be scared a
yeah.
lot more.
Because what's it? McAsee has a 2. I think Holman has 3, and then I know Campbell has 1 or 2. Obviously not
Doesn't
playing.
the trainer have one?
Trainer has 1. Grant has a couple in his career, but none this year.
When
Oh, this is going
Campbell's
to be the
there,
time.
yeah,
Yep.
Campbell's there and it opens it up. So
Yeah.
It
And
allows it.
we don't know exactly. I mean, Connor Kirst has a handful in his career. Mick Kelly scored one this year. I don't know if he'll be back in the lineup. Ramsey has one, but I mean, yeah, certainly Holman and Campbell would be the best options for that. Um, or yeah, maybe we get a pull in transition. I know Ethan Rawls tried a couple. He's also scored exactly one goal in his career, each of his every season of his career, and he already has scored this year. So
Oh, all right.
you
Check
know
that
you
all
don't
out.
need to just a little if you want to pass that information along to Dobson and the rest of the defense and the scout that if
Don't
Ethan
even
Rawls
cover him.
shoots, it will not go in. Um,
Uh, I will say this, since you're talking about 2 point goals, I would be remiss, and Jackson would hate me if I didn't bring up what he has said for the past, well, I think every game since week one. Mason Woodward will score a 2 pointer. If
hmm,
Jackson were here, he would say that. So I'll say
all
it
right.
for him. Do I think it? I honestly, I have no idea, but he is dead set that Woody will put a two in, and he's been trying, so it might
Yeah,
happen. But
he certainly has been. I mean,
we'll see.
he's got a good number in his relatively short career already for especially for a defenseman.
He can shoot the ball 120 miles an hour according to the
Yeah,
skills competition.
it helps. Yeah. All right. JV, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully, he and I are wrong in our predictions and Casey is right. But we will
It
find
wouldn't be
out.
the first time a woman proves the men wrong. I would say that.
I know that's right.
And whatever the result, we will be back to recap it. Yeah, JB, thank you again for joining us today.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. I will leave with saying that if nothing else, please, please, please beat California to end your season. We could use that. We
So
did
could
you a
we.
favor. We beat New York by 11, so the score differential, you're welcome
Yep.
there, but
Yes, thank
just
you.
take out the
Yeah.
Redwoods,
Certainly
please.
want to redeem ourselves after the performance that Boston had against California last year. So we'll do our best with that, JB. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you again to JB. Always good to talk to a fan of another fan base. Did get to see him in person in Fairfield a couple weeks ago. I mean, yeah, it's just cool to talk to the other super fans, the people who care about this game and want to grow it the same way that we do.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, awesome conversation. And he is very passionate. I love when we get to actually hear about people's different, stories of how they became a fan of lacrosse and started watching. Um, so yeah, it's cool to hear about his connection with Sisselberger and then just how he's grown over the last couple of years into the super fan that he is.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, we've certainly talked to players a good amount because of this, but to have that
Hmm.
kind of go backwards where you knew who he was, you were friends with the guy already, and it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna support him as he goes
Yeah.
off and becomes a pro, in whatever team he's with. Um,
Hmm.
which it would be funny if Sis ever did get traded or signed with another team, um, how
And
that
then
would
you
spread.
have all of that gear.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on what point in his career, right? If he's like 36 years old and he's like, all right, one more year, let's try to win a title with this team who looks like they maybe they have everything but a face-off guy.
Mm,
Yeah, that'd be that's a
hmm.
difficult position to be in. And certainly, I mean, there've been Cannons players who have left, and I think Jack is always going to be a Will Manny fan, even when he was on the Archers and on the Whip. Maybe
Yeah.
not as much when he was on the Whip Snakes, but. uh,
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I mean those archers are scary. It is
Hmm.
it's hard to imagine them losing, even though they did. They have lost
Yeah.
4 times this year. Um, but we will see. The Cannons have their task cut out for them, but yeah, we'll see. Those 2 pointers can fall.
Yeah.
Fragneri can get some space if maybe can win the faceoff battle. Um, you know, certainly
Yeah.
confident in that Cannons coaching staff to come up with a good game plan.
Yeah. And so it's a love-hate relationship I have with this, but something that I love and hate about our team is that they have been in really crappy situations in games before. And it's like, there's no way that we're going to come back and win this. And then we freaking do, and we've seen that more than once. So I love that and also hate it because it keeps me on the edge of my seat and my heart just like pounds. Um, but I know that they can do it. And
Yep.
so I always say it's not over until it's over because that last minute of the game, we could come back and we could score three times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Archers are the better team maybe on paper, but they don't play the game
Hmm.
on paper, right? Um,
Right. It's
yeah,
not the whole story.
nope. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna have fun, play hard for 48 minutes,
Hmm.
and I think like the coaches said, they just look up and see what the score is at the end.
Yeah.
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 So we will be obviously cheering the Cannons on Friday at 8:30. Today, as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it the day that the episode comes out, um, whatever the result, we will be back to recap it next week. But until
Yeah.
go Cannons, go Guard.
Go Cannons, go Guard.
Boom.
Boom.